Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new review of Who Knows, and today we'll be reviewing The Well. But before we get into that, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who took the time out to watch the previous review. We got 1,000 views on that. That means so much to me, and it shows that people actually enjoy my rambling of silly nonsense. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So we start off with Belinda and the Doctor in the TARDIS, and they're still wearing the 1950s outfits. But this really is a bit of a deep moment because she really wants to know is can you get me back? Like they try to get the TARDIS to get to Earth and it's not working. So the Vindicator isn't 100% just yet. But there's that little heartfelt moment where the Doctor's promising Belinda that we're gonna have that sit down, we're gonna have those drinks and sing songs with your parents. I'm going to promise you we're gonna get there. So they land in another location, and the Vindicator is starting to recalibrate itself. And the first thing they do is change the outfits. And this is a wonderful little callback. I think maybe I'm missing it, or maybe I'm getting it right. But they play the Britney Spears Toxic song very quickly. And the last time we heard of this song in Doctor Who was the World's End with Cassandra on the platform 9, I think it was. My Doctor Who history is not the best at the moment. Brain all scrambly, but I think that's exactly. Now, I don't know if that was a reference that they were trying to show, like Remember Berries, but I remembered that, and that was quite good. Nice little callback. So they're in these like military armor outfits, and you can see the Belinda's starting to really to enjoy going with the Doctor on adventures and stuff. I think she's starting to fit in and ease herself in as a companion. So immediately, this is the first time this has ever happened in the reboot, if I'm correct, but it was so funny. It's immediately, hi, we're the Doctor and companion. We're here to just look around and have a good time, and you're right in the middle of a military drop zone moment. They get their suits and they are thrown out of this spaceship. Perfect way to start of episode. That was just brilliant. So they're starting to descend to the planet, and the beautiful thing about it is they have this like kind of like jet propulsion thing to kind of ease the descent in their suits, which is quite nice. I think that was a nice little touch. And they descend, they're on the planet, and it is a barren wasteland. It's just dark, hollow, and nightmares from the get go. And lo and behold, the Doctor is getting the Vindicator all set up to vindicate itself, to lasso itself around Earth. And immediately, the military soldiers are wanting to know who the hell they are. And this is a quite nice little moment too that we get to see the psychic paper again. I don't know if it's been used yet in series 2. I could be wrong, possibly, but I think this is the first time. And basically, get out of jail free card moment. So the Doctor is basically trying to do like a military test with them just to get more information, to explain what is the mission, what's going on, and the head captain basically explains to them that they lost contact with a load of miners on this planet for the last 15 days. There's been radio silence. And this is a really good like base under siege moment. It's like, okay, this is a nice little build up. And when they get into the base, there's no one to greet them. Like the one thing one of the soldiers said is that the radiation is so dense that they can't detect life signs this far out, so they have to get closer to it. And when they get into the base, they just see total carnage. There's just bodies everywhere. There has been a massive scuffle. There's been laser fire. There's been people completely mangled. And the first thing is, this is really showing Belinda as a nurse. Immediately she sees somebody, she tries to go and help them out, give them medical care, and it turns out that this person's been deceased for quite some time. The other thing that they discover is all of the mirrors have been shattered. Now, my little theory was this, and this is just throwing it out there because I thought, oh, okay, there's a little bit of memory berries. I generally thought for a split second this was something to do with the family of blood. Now, the reason why I say that is because one of the members was trapped in the mirrors. And I thought, oh my God, is this how they're going to bring the family of blood back? That she somehow escaped from the mirror dimension and is wreaking havoc on these people. Um, that was what I thought intentionally. But straight away, there's a mystery. There's all these people that have been murdered, and then they detect that there's a beep, heart beep, heart monitor, heart detection, life sign. My God, my brain is scrambly today. This is what it gets. This is what you get, people. This is what you get. Not a in depth, super sophisticated review. You get the ramblings of a madman trying to make sense of Doctor Who in 2025. Anyway, so they find the only survivor, which is Alice, and immediately there's you're the last survivor. The main thing was in that little quick moment before they open the door, is this a survivor? Is this the killer? Or is it both? And immediately doesn't make anything good for Alice that there is one of the members of the miners that has been killed right beside her. Alice does confess that she did do it in self-defense and is distraught, obviously. The thing that I like the most about this is the sign language. The Alice was trying to communicate with the people as best she could, and the devices they have can translate or help with the words that so Alice can see. But it's also a nice little moment too that the Doctor actually does sign language to Alice, and it's nice. And it's a nice little moment too where obviously the soldiers are like, please don't have any conversations that we can't like see. Please put them on the monitors. So what I believe is every single one of those monitors is like a report system. So like in any military ops, there's always like an interview after, like what happened. So it's kind of like a battle log of all what happened. So I think that's the reason why the comms had to be used in a military standpoint. But the Doctor has this nice little throwaway moment where he's like in any ear, um, people get paranoid and want to know, don't understand sign language. Like, are you basically buggering somebody off, like talking behind their back? It is a nice little throwaway line, but it's a nice one that I picked up on. So obviously the Doctor's trying to figure out what was going on. Alice explains that everybody has gone bonkers. Like, all she is a cook. She's been there for the last 12 months, just trying to help as a cook, and then all this madness happens. And when she explains the reason why she was in self-defense is her friend tried to kill her with her bare hands. So what else could she do? And she's been trapped there for 15 days. That will mess with anybody's psyche. I did feel so sorry for us, but I also was a little bit paranoid where it's like, is this an act? Is she actually the villain in this? Because it's not looking good for her that everybody is dead and she's the only survivor. So obviously the Doctor and the commander and one of the soldiers that you can tell has been planned to be the dick. straight away, it's that type of military mind where it's like civilians shouldn't be on the battlefield, and immediately has a problem with the Doctor. At the part where they are trying to like take their armor off, this military by the book soldier is like, this is disrespectful. You can't call me babes. You know, immediately the Doctor's like, okay, hon. Just a nice little throwback, because if you remember, the Doctor's always had a problem with military authority through his incarnation. So it's a nice little cheeky disrespect moment, but you can tell that this soldier does not like the Doctor. And it plays into this moment when they go to look at the logs to find out what's going on with the miners. Then immediately this soldier's like, do I have to listen to him? He's not, is he above me? Do I have to take orders from him? You can see that little shaky moment with this Doctor smiling, going, yes, I'm above you. You have to take my orders. And I knew that was going to play off at some moment when things are going to go batshit, that this soldier's going to either shoot the Doctor or threaten to shoot the Doctor or do something. You could tell that was something going to happen with this. But they get into the battle log, into the logs of the miners, and they start to see little glimpses of what's gone on, to the point that there's one miner screaming that we don't know what it is, we don't know what it is. And the doctor is trying to get more information from the commander and the soldiers as well, explaining like a little bit of back history. So we do get to hear the commander talk about a little bit about her past, that she's an excellent shot. She was kind of moved up the ranks really quickly at a young age. She joined the military forces when she was 14. Um, we don't know a lot about what war there was, but war is war. And that's kind of tough to be at any age, to be like recruited straight into a military like faction, you know. And in that little tiny bit of back and forth with the doctor and the commander, that you get this wonderful moment where he's talking about, oh yes, Earth is a part of the alliance, basically, and they don't know what Earth is, and that's the heart wrenching moment. It's like, oh my god, like this also made me think of the Medusa Cascade again, because planets have been disappearing, but this is on a whole new level where not only are they disappearing, they're being erased from time. So I could be throwing spanners at the wall at this, but like it does feel like, oh, Medusa Cascade might not be Daleks, but it might be something else. I am still saying that it is the Rani or Miss Flood, is doing some sort of mumbo jumbo magic with the Earth. But the other moment with this is Belinda also talking to the soldiers about like little mannerisms about all Earth. You know, we've got 13 people here. That's unlucky. And no one knows what she's talking about. So you also see the fear in Belinda going, oh my god, what's happened to Earth? So trying to make sense of all this, while the commander is talking to the doctor, they explain that this planet was completely mined. Like it wasn't just a barren wasteland for so long. It's been completely pulled to the core. And it used to be diamonds. And I didn't take, at that moment I didn't really register what was going on until I was like, oh god, is it? No, it can't be. Now what I generally thought at the beginning was a little reference in the Sound of Drums, I think it was, where one of the survivors that was going into space that then became the Toclafane, was the sky was made out of diamonds. That's where I was going with it. Did not expect the commander to turn around and say, this planet used to be called Midnight. And you're like, oh, oh, this is bad. Then we get that flash moment where the doctor's like, I've been here before. Flash moment back to the 10th Doctor and that creature that took over one of the passengers. And you're like, this is going all the way back from series 4. We're getting returning villain that far back. This is really terrifying. We then get that moment when they go back, it flashes back to Belinda talking to Alice, trying to calm her down, trying to keep her, fix her wound when she fell. And a moment when Belinda looks up, you see this entity. And this is what I think was so good about this. They've done it before, like with Prisoner Zero, that just in the corner of your eye you can see something. And this was the horror aspect that I loved, where they don't show too much of this villain, this corporeal form of an entity. You just see it just in the corner of her head. And it makes Belinda freak out, which also unnerves the soldiers that are trying to make sense of what's going on. And it happens again to the point that the soldiers are like, right, okay, that's twice that you can't just throw it off that you're paranoid, you're seeing things. That's twice, so something's happening. This is also the moment when you start to realize that Alice isn't telling all truths, because she knows what happened. I know that she was scared, and I know they have to do something with the plot and stuff to have to keep the storyline going. But if you think that you've got an entire military soldiers pointing guns at you, you think even if it was complete batshit that you're talking, that you would inform the soldiers that there's this entity that has broken out of the mining thing when the miners had ruptured the core of this earth, mining the diamonds, that they released this entity out, and it caused people to go mad because they were trying to kill this entity. You know, you'd think you just throw that in there, just a smidge, but you didn't. So obviously what the soldiers are trying to do then, one of the soldiers does like a circle perimeter around Alice to try and see if they can see this entity. And then we get the paranormal activity moment where one of the soldiers get lifted into the air, their neck is broken and slammed into the corner. Obviously that starts the military soldiers to go completely ballistic, trying to, you know, do we open fire? What was that? What's going on? And that's the moment when the doctor and the commander and annoying soldier guy all burst in, and immediately this is when I was like, this is where it's all going to go pear-shaped, because the soldier sees one of his comrades have passed, and you see a throwaway line very quickly where he's like, I worked with her brother. You know, so he's, of course he's angry. It's his friend. He wants answers. He tries yet again to the commander of the division to basically say, what's the orders? Do we take Alice out? I need no something. We shouldn't be listening to the doctor. And immediately he throws into, I'm taking over command. You are unfit for command. I'm taking over until this mission is over. Does anyone else vote me in? Obviously another soldier does. And that's when it all goes absolutely pear-shaped, because even though this entity is very intelligent, it does something very clever in this moment, because clearly when he goes to try and disprove the moment he gets behind Alice, nothing happens to him until he decides to threaten this entity, basically saying, if there is an entity, if it does exist, we are going to find it, locate it, and if needs be, kill it. And you're like, that's the bad moment. You shouldn't have did that. And immediately a soldier gets killed. But the wonderful moment is, because Alice is panicking so much, she's actually turning away because she doesn't want to be shot by this soldier. And in that moment, sadly, because she keeps turning away from people, this entity's just massacring soldiers left, right, and center. And in that split second, the commander has to take control again, and unfortunately orders Alice to turn and face her, which in turn takes out this soldier. There's that little moment where the doctor kind of has to just like decompress in the moment that there's so many people have just died in the space of seconds. And the commander tries to tell her actions like, I had to do it. He was losing command. I was losing command. I was losing control. I had to do what I had to do. But the doctor makes a fair point. It's like, this is what this entity wants. It wants fear. It wants us to destroy one another. But the wonderful thing about this entity is it's a host. It needs a host. So it's playing games. And it's playing a wonderful game. But the doctor starts to try and take control again and talks to this entity. Like, the killing ends now. I'm taking control of this. And he talks to this entity to try and understand what it is, what it wants. And then you start to hear the whisper. And it makes sense now, the reason why Alice is still alive, or she can't hear this entity, is because she can't hear, that she's deaf. And when this entity starts to whisper to the doctor, I think this is even a more wonderful moment. It's like, okay, this is the same entity that took over the doctor at midnight. So does it take over, absorb the energy, or the person itself that it's mimicking? Because this entity mentions the doctor's name, and the doctor is in total fear. It paralyzed with fear. So it was kind of a little nice moment where you're like, oh my god, this entity knows the doctor. Now people would probably put one and one together thinking this entity is an ancient old creature that of course it knows. It may be something to do with Time Lords, it may be something to do with that. I don't think that. I generally think because this entity has like took over the Doctor before, it was literally becoming the Doctor. That if that moment of the person in Midnight hadn't opened the door and pulled that entity out, it would have took over the Doctor completely. So I think there's a little residue energy off that where this entity has took information of the Doctor to the point it knows his name. Just to prove how sinister this creature is. And they do it perfectly. I thought they were going to ruin it by showing this entity coming out with a big bog monster going blah. But they didn't do that. They still kept the fear of this entity. We don't see it. We see glimpses of it. We don't see it. But then the Doctor figures out that's why the mirrors have been smashed. It's reflection. Its whole power is if anyone's behind it or sees it, it can completely destroy a person, even itself. So he asks the commander to shoot the pipes, what causes water to come down, which is the cause of a reflection. Rescues Alice, and they make a beeline to the capsule to get back to the spaceship. But in that little moment, the Doctor has to know. He has to see this entity. And you do get a quick glimpse of this entity, but still perfectly done. We don't see what it is, we just see glimpses of it. And you see like a shadow when the Doctor and that are running back. There's that quick running into the base to get out. Alice is safe. She's got away with the other two soldiers, but then there's this moment where the entity is caught up with the rest of the group and takes over one of them. So you've got that little moment of, okay, who's who's got it. And now we actually get to know how you've been took over, or you're now the host, is you can hear this entity whisper to you. So that also is even a deeper part of it, because it shows you the fact is that when this entity took over the miners, it was causing the miner to you should pick up this weapon and take out your thing, make people so paranoid. So you could hear Belinda panicking, hearing it, it can whisper, is it behind me? And the Doctor does what the Doctor does best, is basically said, look, take me over again. We can travel the stars, just please don't hurt my companion. And we get that wonderful moment from the soldier where, because she's duty bound and she has to protect civilians, that she explains to the Doctor, is the human species the same as my species? Do we still have the same inner layer of organs and stuff? The Doctor explains yes. And she does a sort of 50-50 lethal blow, because what Alice had explained before is, if you kill me, it will take over you. Whoever kills me, this will become the new host of this entity. And she knows what she's doing. She shoots Belinda. The entity takes over her, and she runs to sacrifice herself. And we get this little moment where there's a flashback moment of her as a child. And it's kind of really sad too, because this person's never actually had a normal life. It's been in constant war. It's been constant war and death. That's all she knows. But the biggest part that keeps her going is her duty bound to protect people, to the very bitter end, where she goes to the well. And that's terrifying for everybody. This is where you're gonna drop. There's no way to save yourself. The Doctor does try to save her. Unfortunately, doesn't get there in time. And Belinda is got the Medipad thing. She's starting to heal again. And they have that nice little back and forth of each other, going what's happened to Earth? What is going on? In this moment, we also get one of the surviving soldiers making a full report. And wouldn't you believe it, Miss Flood has returned. Or aka the Rani. But this time the lore gets a wee bit more oh, okay. Where she's asking for a full report of who is this person to give you the order to completely nuke this planet. And she explains who she thinks the Doctor is, thinking that it was someone from higher command that sent this person. And when she explains, what did he have this? And when she explains, like, okay, an active vindicator, this is perfect. Thank you for your intel. You're kind of going like, what is the thing with the vindicator? Is the vindicator gonna be some sort of like bomb that's gonna like blow up, or what's gonna happen? So I'm very interested in that side of things. But the Doctor gets dematerializes off the ship, and we get that real dark moment where one of the soldiers does that look over the other soldier's back, and you get that moment where you're like, oh God, the entity hasn't died. It's survived the planet. It's on the ship. So then you're left with the, did this soldier decide to blow up the ship to save everybody? Did Alice make it? Did any of the people that you think that thought survived the planet are gone? You're just left with the unknown, and I think that was just a perfect way to end it. Um, all in all, I have to say this was a really good episode, a brilliant callback to Midnight. The thing that you should do with a villain is like something like that, like an entity or a spirit or some sort of creature, is not to show it. Like we see a glimpse of it, and that makes the horror aspect even better. So I have to applaud the people who made this episode. I have to applaud Mr. Russell. You did a really good job, Russell T Davis. You did a really good job with this episode. um but yeah, I have to say I love the episode. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want to, and we will get back to you with another episode. Who knows? Because guess who's back? Ruby Sunday. So that's going to be interesting to see what episode, how the companions are going to meet each other. Who knows? So until then, everybody, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye, everybody.